What do they mean to you? How do they affect your mood? How does it impact your thinking? And how does it change your action? In this series, we will explore the psychology of colors and their cultural meaning and their undeniable impact they have in our daily lives. So, open your eyes and your mind. Let's embark on this traumatic journey to understand how color doesn't just add beauty to the world, it adds meanings to our lives. Stay tuned and let's color your world with wisdom. And let's bring in AkzoNobel, the power of color.
Hello, my name is Oscar Wezenbeek, and I'm going to talk with you about the power of color. First of all, can you imagine a world without color? Only with gray shades, black and white tones. That's quite challenging, isn't it? Fortunately, there is color. Color which adds sparkle to our life, but I'm going to talk about what else color can do. It really has an impact on how we feel and how we perceive any object around us and the spaces in which we live and work. First, a reminder, color is light, and light, as you know, is composed of many colors. However, the perception of color is the result not only of light itself, but also the object on which it reflects and the viewer, him or herself, as well. Good to keep that in mind. And it plays an essential part in our day-to-day surroundings. It helps us to identify and specify the type of spaces or objects we're dealing with. It can truly transform a personal space and obviously creates a certain atmosphere, a certain ambience in the space where we move around and even the furniture and objects that we handle. As such, really, it produces an emotional, even sometimes physical human response. And it has a true impact on people's lives. We do at AkzoNobel a lot of research with universities to study scientifically whether or not certain colors in certain settings, what kind of impact it truly has on human beings. But it can also be very much in that context a real chance to reset and renew the spaces and the impact it has on people's lives. So, did you know that color has an impact, how we perceive a space? Let me talk about some colors and what they truly stand for. First of all, the color red, a color full of energy, because obviously it's a color that we associate with fire, with the sun, and therefore also with a very warm and cheerful, stimulating color. Passion, energy, good fortune. Color is really very vibrant, but there's also something that we have to take into account. It is not appropriate to use in every different setting. Indeed, as it is very warm and a passionate color, it is often used for intimate spaces like theaters, dining rooms, and like halls. It really gives that advanced feeling, sensuality even, that you have. Very vibrant color, but this is also a good color where, depending on the culture and where you are in the world, it can have different connotations. Because I mentioned a lot of positive qualities of the color red, but at the same token, it's also often used, especially in the West, as a color to depict danger, even to stop. You think about the traffic light signs that we have, where red really is used as a color to signal, warn danger, and to stop certain actions. So a very powerful color, but also very much to take into account where and in what setting and in what culture even you use this color. Blue, standing for a beautiful blue sky or a blue ocean, is a color that gives a very tranquil, serene feeling and a sense of spaciousness at the wide open of the beautiful seas. And as such, it is very calming. It is also used, which is very well used for bedrooms, bathrooms, where you want to relax, you want to chill, you want to be able to sleep properly. And even in areas like studies where you have mental tasks to perform, it's a color which is really helping to soothe and create creativity. So it's a very restful color. It's also a color that can stand for new beginnings and even has a very religious connotation. Think about the god Krishna in Hinduism. So it's a beautiful color for sure, with a relatively more calming effect. Give you another example of a very happy and sunny feeling you get with the color yellow. It can really help, as you can see in these examples, to make the room appear brighter. Very useful color there. And the connotations and history and culture around this color are quite beautiful, as the color yellow represents the earth. And in the case of China, it was a color very much exclusively to the emperor, a very regal color standing for prosperity and sacredness. At the same token, in India, where it more has a connotation about spring and vitality, a lot of energy and warm sensations that you have around this color. You see this color coming back in kitchens and smaller rooms, very much a warm, homely feeling that you have related to this color. And we often use it as well in educational and healthcare settings because of the sunny, warm, optimistic energy that it radiates. Beautiful example is the color green. Green, of course, we quickly associate with nature. It's a very refreshing, a very natural color, therefore. It also helps in that respect to give that sensation of balance. And in the homely setting, or even office settings, it creates a very cool, fresh, and calm atmosphere. If you think about a more professional setting, that this calmness you can use for settings around conference facilities where creativity, mediation, a harmonious way of accomplishing tasks are involved, that is a very positive setting there. A beautiful color, very much about purity, harmony, spring, nature, really very inspiring in that respect. So how can we use color in an architectural setting? If you look at different roles that color can play, it can play a part, of course, in symbolic aspect of architecture, emphasizing the certain functions that a building or furniture have to perform, but also in terms of constructional, aesthetics, psychological settings. Color can really help to emphasize or de-emphasize, even disguise certain features. Let me give you a few examples. If you look at constructional elements of the color, use of color and color combinations in architecture, it's really about the perception of the different elements of the building. And you see that very clearly depicted in the examples here on this page. So the building on the left, by using such a contrasting color, obviously it helps to stand out the rooftop construction of this particular element. And the building in the center, of course, it really jumps out the cylindrical structure on top of the building where the offices are located by this bright use of different color sections. On the right, you see a completely different example with Gardens at the Bay, where here in Singapore, where actually the trees don't jump out compared to nature. Actually, there is the objective was to create a symbiosis of the trees itself with the palm trees and the rest of the nature surrounding it. So you see the different plays you can do there with colors. Talking about aesthetic role that color combinations can play, it's really about the overall appeal of the structures and the versus the environment. So on the left, you have the Stadhuis in Malacca in Malaysia, where the sense of historic, the role of the historic colors has been brought back. So it creates that sensation, that appeal of very historic, the city center that you have over there. And it's, of course, something that you have to, it's somewhat subjective how that is being perceived by the observer. So the aesthetics, by its very nature, it's very personal. It's something that can depend on taste and style. And it can even change over time and place, to be honest. On the right, you have the Marina One in Singapore, where you have a completely different aesthetics effect, where really, again, you have this very natural symbiosis with the natural environment by the use of color combinations in that respect. Color combinations can also have an important psychological impact in architecture to be mindful of. And then you talk very much about the emotions which are being evoked by the different color combinations that you can use. And how that plays a part, in general, you could say it has a lot to do with colors can be used for social status. I talked in the beginning a bit about the color yellow in China was really reserved to the emperor and his family. But also colors can play a part in terms of religious beliefs and convictions. The color green, for example, in Islam is a good example that it can be an expression of religious beliefs and values. So you have to think about it for how you want to use it. There are certain constraints to take into account. But in general, colors can be used either to be playful or more serious. Colors can be used to be more inviting or, on the other hand, more intimidating. or create more excitement, or be more contemplative. Here you see an example of a theater where the color orange, which is a very strong color, has a lot of energy and hope related to the color orange, that is being used for this theater in that respect. It's a nice example how that works. So color is, of course, personal. I gave you some examples how culture definitely plays an important part. But it's, of course, very personal how it's being perceived. But what we found as well during some scientific research that we've done, it can actually truly drive behavior. I give you some example of that. Beautiful. I love that example. So we at AkzoNobel will look very much to develop colors that work for the future. And to that effect, we have a global aesthetic center that really analyzes the different trends that we see in society. Of course, analyzes all the different color technologies that we have available to really define a color palette that gives more confidence to consumers and professionals in the color palette and color combinations that they choose for their work. Concluding, the world is our canvas, and we're here to help customers and professionals alike to make more confident color choices and to benefit from the color consistency, state-of-the-art color matching technology, and pioneering advantages that we provide in digital color to make sure that you have lasting color performance and protection. So we take advantage of timely delivery, dependable application experience for many hundreds of years that we have worked at this space already from AkzoNobel. Now, whatever you do, I hope that I helped you to see how you have to make a conscious decision, that there are very factors into a play, that colors do have an impact on your surrounding and how the spaces and objects that you work with are being perceived. And also depends on the culture, the places, the settings, but of course, most of all, to your customer. I hope you enjoyed this presentation and I wish you a fantastic day.